Brazil was built by three worlds colliding: indigenous civilizations, Portuguese colonizers, and millions of African slaves brought by force. Each one left something behind. Most of what they left ended up in the kitchen. These are 8 foods born here. Brigadeiro, Brazil's most beloved chocolate treat, was invented during a presidential election campaign, and the candidate lost. In 1945, supporters of Brazilian Air Force Brigadier Eduardo Gomes created a chocolate truffle to sell at campaign fundraisers. Condensed milk, cocoa powder, and butter. That was it. The treat spread faster than the campaign ever did. The process is simple. Condensed milk, cocoa powder, and butter are cooked together over low heat, stirred constantly until the mixture thickens and pulls away from the sides of the pan. Rolled into small balls by hand while still warm, then coated in chocolate sprinkles. The entire process takes under 30 minutes. Eduardo Gomes lost the election. His chocolate truffle conquered Brazil anyway. No Brazilian birthday party has existed without it since 1945, and none ever will. Pão de queijo. This cheese bread contains no wheat and was invented by people who had no access to it. Pão de queijo originated in the state of Minas Gerais in the 18th century. African slaves working on Brazilian farms had no access to wheat flour and used cassava starch instead, a root crop that indigenous Brazilians had been processing for centuries before European contact. What came out of that substitution was something wheat never could have produced. Cassava starch is mixed with eggs, oil, and aged Minas cheese, then baked until puffed and golden on the outside. The interior stays stretchy and chewy in a way that wheat bread never achieves. Pull one apart, and it strings like mozzarella. The gluten-free movement accidentally made pão de queijo internationally trendy in the 2000s. A food invented from necessity by people with no other option became a premium health product sold in airports and specialty stores worldwide. Brazil has been eating it for centuries without needing a reason. Coxina. This fried street food is shaped like a teardrop, and the reason involves a Brazilian emperor's son. The most widely accepted origin story traces it to the royal kitchen of Princess Isabel in the 19th century. Her son Prince Antonio allegedly refused to eat anything except chicken thighs. When the kitchen ran out one day, the royal cooks shredded the remaining chicken, wrapped it in dough, and shaped it to resemble a chicken thigh so the boy wouldn't notice. He ate it. The shape never changed. Shredded chicken mixed with cream cheese and seasoning is encased in a dough made from chicken broth and flour. The broth is what separates coxina from standard fried dough, giving it a deeper, richer flavor from the inside out. Shaped into a teardrop, breaded, and deep fried until golden. The royal origin story is disputed by food historians. Brazilians generally don't care. It is now sold at every bakery, party, and street corner across the country, and the story is too good to abandon. Acai Bowl. This global health food trend was originally eaten as a savory meal by Amazon River workers, and they would not recognize what the rest of the world did to it. Acai berries have grown wild in the Amazon rainforest for centuries, a dietary staple of indigenous Amazonian communities long before European contact. River workers and rubber tappers ate acai pulp mixed with tapioca as a filling savory meal. No granola, no honey, no fruit on top. Acai berries spoil within 24 hours of being picked. They are frozen immediately after harvesting and shipped as a thick frozen pulp. That pulp is blended into a dense purple paste and served however the culture eating it prefers. Scientific studies in the early 2000s identified acai as exceptionally high in antioxidants, and the global health food industry exploded around it almost overnight. Brazil's Amazon export became a billion-dollar international industry. Most acai bowls sold outside Brazil contain very little actual acai. The Amazon workers who ate it for centuries would not recognize what it became. Kachatza. It is one of the oldest spirits in the Americas, predating rum by over a century, and most of the world has never heard of it. Portuguese colonizers brought sugarcane and distillation knowledge to Brazil in the 16th century. The enslaved workers forced to work the plantations were the first to discover that fresh sugarcane juice left to ferment produced a powerful liquid. They began distilling it. What they created was categorically different from rum, which is made from molasses, the byproduct left after sugar is extracted. Kachatza is made from the fresh juice itself. That single difference in the base ingredient creates an entirely different flavor. Fresh sugarcane juice is fermented for up to 3 weeks, then distilled in copper pot stills. Aged versions spend years in barrels made from Brazilian hardwood varieties found nowhere else on Earth. Woods that impart flavors. No Scottish or American barrel could replicate. Brazil produces over 1 billion liters annually, making Kachatza one of the most consumed spirits in the world. For decades, the United States legally classified it as rum. Brazil fought for and won official recognition of Kachatza as its own distinct spirit category in 2013. It took over 4 centuries to get the credit. Fijiada. Brazil's national dish was built by 3 cultures that had no intention of creating something together. Portugal brought its tradition of bean and pork stews to Brazil during colonization. African slaves brought the knowledge of how to use every part of an animal, the ears, feet, and tail that European colonizers discarded as worthless. Indigenous Brazilians contributed local ingredients and cooking methods that neither Portugal nor Africa had ever used. All 3 met in Brazilian kitchens and produced something none of them had made before. Black beans slow-cooked for hours with multiple cuts of pork, sausage, ribs, ears, feet, and tail, until the broth turns thick and almost black. Served with white rice, farofa, and orange slices. The orange is not for decoration. Its acidity cuts directly through the richness of the stew and balances every bite. Feijoada is served every Saturday across Brazil without exception. Portugal insists it originated there. Brazil insists that what Portugal makes is an entirely different dish. Moqueca. 2 Brazilian states have been arguing about who invented this dish for decades. Neither will surrender. Moqueca exists in 2 distinct versions that share a name and almost nothing else. Moqueca Baiana from Bahia uses coconut milk and dendê oil, both brought directly from West Africa by enslaved people, creating a rich, deeply colored stew that reflects Bahia's strong Afro-Brazilian identity. Moqueca Capixaba from Espírito Santo uses neither, relying instead on tomatoes, onions, and annatto for its flavor and color. Both versions are cooked in a clay pot. This detail is non-negotiable in either state. The clay distributes heat slowly and evenly, cooking the fish gently without breaking it apart. The pot itself is considered as important as anything inside it. Moqueca Baiana became internationally recognized through Bahia's strong cultural identity and global tourism. Moqueca Capixaba remains largely unknown outside Brazil, despite being arguably the older preparation. Espírito Santo trademarked the name Moqueca Capixaba in 1999, specifically to distinguish itself from Bahia. The argument has never been resolved. Quintino. This bright yellow dessert was created by African slaves using ingredients from 3 different continents, and it looks like nothing else on Earth. Portuguese colonizers brought their tradition of egg yolk-based sweets, a cooking style inherited from Moorish cuisine. African slaves combined this technique with coconut brought from Africa and sugar from Brazilian plantations. The result was something none of those 3 cultures had ever made independently, and none of them could have made alone. Egg yolks, sugar, butter, and shredded coconut are mixed together and baked in small individual molds until set. When unmolded, the top reveals a smooth, glossy surface, so uniformly bright yellow it looks artificial. The interior is dense, sweet, and chewy from the coconut pressing through every bite. Quindim is present at every Brazilian celebration alongside brigadeiro, the 2 desserts that define Brazilian sweet culture. The people who invented it received no credit during their lifetimes. Most menus that sell it today still don't mention where it came from. Brazil was built by three worlds colliding: the indigenous, the colonizer, and the enslaved. None of them chose to share a kitchen. All of them left something behind that the world is still eating today.